The World Cup is the biggest stage in football, billions of people watching. Players spend their entire careers dreaming about it, and yet every now and then a footballer looks at that call-up, looks at that chance to play on the biggest stage in the world and says no. These are 7 players who rejected World Cup call-ups, and trust me, a few of these are going to surprise you. Number 7. Odsonne Edouard, Haiti, 2026. Let's start right here, right now. This summer, Odsonne Edouard had a brilliant season, 14 goals and 3 assists for RC Lens in Ligue 1. He even scored in the French Cup final as Lens won their first trophy in almost 30 years. The form was undeniable. And Haiti, who are making only their 2nd ever World Cup appearance this summer, came knocking. They needed a striker. Edouard was eligible through his Haitian parents. It seemed like the perfect match. But Edouard said no, and here is the part that actually earns him respect. His reason was not selfishness, it was the complete opposite. He said, "I wouldn't feel legitimate playing in the World Cup because the players fought to qualify and I wasn't going to show up at the last minute to take advantage." That's a remarkable thing to say. He also hasn't played for Haiti before, and switching allegiances would have ended any chance he still holds of playing for France at senior level one day. So it was a decision built on both principle and ambition. Haiti will face Brazil, Morocco and Scotland without him. They could have used him, but you have to respect the honesty. Number 6. Eli Junior Kroupi, Portugal, 2026. Now this one is different, because this wasn't just about personal reasons. This was about choosing between 2 nations, and the nation he turned down had Cristiano Ronaldo in it. Eli Junior Kroupi is 19 years old. He scored 12 goals in 31 Premier League appearances for Bournemouth this season, at 19. In the Premier League, Bournemouth's sporting director even said they wouldn't sell him for 100 million euros. That's the level of player we're talking about. Portugal came for him. His mother is of Portuguese descent, making him eligible. Roberto Martinez personally approached him before the March training camp, but Kroupi said no. He was born and raised in France. He has represented France at every youth level from under 16 to under 21. He has scored 15 goals across those youth squads, and he wants to play for the senior French team. That is the dream. So when Portugal came with a World Cup spot, he turned it down to keep chasing that France call-up, knowing full well he would then have to compete for a spot against Désiré Doué, Bradley Barcola, Michael Olise, Ousmane Dembélé and Ryan Cherki. That is a ridiculously hard path, but he chose it. And honestly, the audacity is kind of incredible. Number 5. Louie Ben Farhat, Tunisia, 2026. This one is a full story, and it's messy. Louie Ben Farhat is 19, plays for Karlsruher SC in Germany's 2nd division, and had attracted serious attention from Bundesliga clubs this season. Tunisia called him up for the World Cup this summer. He was in the squad. This video is sponsored by Supply Handlers. He had already earned his first 2 international caps for Tunisia in friendlies back in March. And then, on the morning of the squad announcement, the Tunisia manager Sabri Lamouchi received a phone call. Not from the player, from the player's father. The father told Lamouchi that it was too early to select his son and that he was refusing the call-up on his behalf. Lamouchi was furious. He tried to call the player directly. No answer. He called the father back. No answer. At a press conference, Lamouchi did not hide his feelings. "I was shocked. It's a lack of respect. This matter is closed." Ben Farhat eventually came out and said his decision was linked to a broken foot injury he had suffered earlier in the season, which kept him out for 4 months, and that he needed to prioritize his recovery. Some reports suggest a Bundesliga move this summer is in the works, and there are suggestions that playing at the World Cup could complicate or jeopardize that. But here is the thing nobody can get past. The coach found out through a phone call from the boy's dad at a World Cup. That detail alone made this one of the most talked about stories of the summer. Number 4. Ben White, England, 2022. Ben White actually made it to the World Cup in Qatar. He was in the squad, he was there, and then, just before England's final group game against Wales, he was gone. The FA released a statement saying he had left the camp for personal reasons and would not be returning. England asked the media to respect his privacy. Arsenal posted on their socials, "We're all with you, Ben." And that was it. No explanation. The mystery hung in the air for months. Reports surfaced of a training ground incident involving a verbal clash with assistant manager Steve Holland. One version of events suggested Holland asked players about team tactics and statistics, and White either didn't know or refused to engage, leading to a confrontation in front of the entire squad. White never confirmed this. He then made himself unavailable for England selection for 2 full years afterwards. Even now, the full truth has never been officially confirmed. What is confirmed is that Ben White walked away from a World Cup mid-tournament. Whatever the real reason, that is a decision that follows a footballer forever. He's only recently returned to the England setup, and the story is still not fully resolved. Number 3, Nikola Kalinic, Croatia, 2018. Now, we take it back. And this one you simply cannot make up. Nikola Kalinic was part of Croatia's squad for the 2018 World Cup in Russia. In their opening group game against Nigeria with the score at 2-0 and the game well under control, manager Zlatko Dalic told Kalinic to warm up. He was going to come on as a substitute with about 5 minutes to go. Kalinic warmed up, then told the coaching staff he couldn't come on. Back problem, he said. But this was not the first time. Kalinic had also pulled out of a pre-tournament friendly against Brazil, citing the same back complaint, and he had missed a training session before the Nigeria game too. Dalic had seen enough. He was sent home while his teammates went on to reach the World Cup final. Croatia lost to France 4-2, and Kalinic's Croatia teammates were each offered a runners-up medal. Kalinic turned his down. "I did not play in Russia," he said. "I did not contribute. I do not want it." You have to give him that. But the fact remains, he refused to come on as a substitute in the 85th minute of a game Croatia were already winning at a World Cup, and he will never get that back. Number 2, Ruud Gullit, Netherlands, 1994. This one genuinely hurt Dutch football. Ruud Gullit in 1994 was one of the most complete players on the planet. He had captained the Netherlands to the 1988 European Championship. He was a Ballon d'Or winner. He was exactly the kind of player you build a World Cup squad around. Gullit had even returned to the national team after a 13-month absence and played a brilliant 45 minutes in a 3-1 win over Scotland just days before the tournament. He set up a goal. He looked sharp. Everything pointed to him going to the USA that summer, and then he walked out of the training camp. He made an announcement at a press conference saying he would not play at the World Cup, and he refused to give a reason until after the tournament had ended. The reason that eventually emerged was a falling out with coach Dick Advocaat over tactics and his preferred position. Advocaat wanted Gullit in one role, Gullit wanted another. After weeks of tension, it boiled over and he just walked. The Netherlands went to that World Cup without him and were knocked out by Brazil in the quarter-finals. A game many Dutch fans still believe they would have won with Gullit on the pitch. That is a painful what-if that still lingers in Dutch football to this day. Number 1, Johan Cruyff, Netherlands, 1978. There is no bigger name on this list, winner of 3 Ballon d'Or awards, the creative genius behind total football. 4 years before the 1978 World Cup, he had led the Netherlands to the final in West Germany, where they only lost to the hosts. By 1978, he was still at the peak of his powers, and the Dutch were among the favourites. Everyone expected Cruyff to be the focal point of another World Cup run, and then he didn't go. Being held at gunpoint in their home in Barcelona in 1977, an attempted kidnapping, a traumatic event that he kept private for over 30 years. After that experience, he simply could not bring himself to go to Argentina. "There are moments in life when there are other values," he said. The Netherlands went without him and reached the final again, only to lose 3-1 to the hosts. The world's best player sitting at home watching his country play in a World Cup final without him. All because of a night of terror that nobody knew about for 3 decades. That is the most extraordinary story on this list. Which one of these stories shocked you the most? Drop your answer in the comments below. And if you're not subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? Hit that button and turn on the notification bell. Catch you in the next one.